The legit boxer doesn't sell tickets. It's not going to be sexy. It's not going to sell pay-per-view.
A legit boxer would sell tickets.
No, it
with
won't.
Jake Paul. Yes,
No,
it would.
it
Joshua,
won't.
you're telling me putting fucking Ryan Garcia or Tank Davis or insert Joshua. Insert any.
You
real
don't
fight.
even understand how weight classes work, Zachary.
It doesn't matter.
You don't understand how weight classes work.
He just fought a fucking 55-year-old.
Mike Tyson was
matters.
a heavyweight, Zachary.
It
You're a
doesn't
fucking
matter.
idiot. You just said Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. Tank Davis is 130 pounds. Ryan Garcia is 115
But
pounds.
at least it's a
150
legit
pounds.
fighter who's
Zachary,
young.
you're fucking stupid. Tommy Fury is actually his weight class. That's why it
Then
made
go
sense.
fight Tommy, but that's a real fight. Welcome to the Real Oshow. I'm Zachary. Joining me as always is my brother Joshua. Today we interview record executive Rob Jua on the state of the music industry.
We also talk Jaguar's new viral commercial, Logan Paul versus Jake Paul, and J. Cole's new album rollout.
I gotta stack out this gold. I tell you I'm on the road. About to get all this dough. Me and no fuck niggas know. I swear to God we the ghosts. This ain't the story they told. Man, if you know, then you know. I never had to tell my dogs that we on rough for greatness. They paper getters, they want money.
So kind of the trending topic today has been Jaguar, however the fuck you say it, brand new ad that they just released for their electric vehicle. Came out with a new logo release, new logo mock-up. That might be the worst ad I've ever seen in the history of ads. It is atrocious. And for someone who, we both work in the ad industry, we both work for agencies, that is the worst thing I've ever seen. And that's how 20 people get fired in one day. Right there.
There's a real phrase used in the marketing and advertising world, or really just business in general, called go woke, go broke. Now, I actually think, and me and Joshua were talking off camera beforehand, this might be the greatest marketing strategy ever. Come up with something terribly awful, totally against your clientele that actually buys the vehicles. Go viral on fucking Twitter with 77 million views of that, whatever that is. I'm not even going to comment on it. And then fire the 20 people that Joshua said. Hold on. Fire the 20 people that Joshua said. And then you apologize for it and go back to what you were doing, just like Bud Light did.
Listen, if I was going to say what I really want to say, I'd be canceled and fired from my job because that was atrocious. Like, that's exactly the same person who did this was Bud Light when they didn't understand who their demographic was. Now, Bud Light's was more of a misunderstanding than an ad. This is a full-blown ad where they know no one who buys their cars. People that are buying, men that are buying a Jaguar car, they're buying it to get pussy. They're buying it to get a girl. They're not buying it for whatever the fuck that was.
But to be real, the people who actually own Jaguar, however you said, I hope it's just called fucking Jaguar and they don't have this bullshit phrase of how to actually say it. The people who actually own it are the reason that happened.
No. That's horrible.
BlackRock is saying, hey, if you want our fucking money and you want to be able to do anything in this world, you're doing this.
No.
It's all woke bullshit at the top end. It's not actually Jaguar. There might be a segment in the company that's doing it, but I promise you this is way higher level than fucking Jaguar that wants to do this.
This could be a whole smoke and mirrors type thing, but going through the annals of X, I found a guy who tweeted this about the guy who is the head of marketing for Jaguar is the same VP of brand marketing for Bud Light when they had the scandal that basically plummeted the whole company. Now, I also want to...
There could be multiple VPs of
100%.
brand marketing,
Listen,
it might not have just been him.
It's not just him, but he did leave the company right after it, so he probably played a role. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of people from Jaguar getting fired. Like, straight up, going to get fucking fired. And it's going to go the whole other way. I bet you the next Jaguar ad we see, we're going to get some busty-ass blonde on the fucking car.
But that's what I said. This is the greatest marketing. Go viral for being woke. Apologize. Go back to your normal clientele. Say sorry. Everything's made well again.
But
that's what happens.
But that doesn't, because like you're satisfying people that aren't buying the car. To me, if I have all the money in the world and I'm selling a luxury car, I'm paying Sydney Sweeney an ungodly amount of money to have her tits out in a fucking James Bond outfit.
Man, Joshua
and
really has a type.
No,
it's really got a type.
No,
Joshua,
it's not even that.
You give
Listen,
Joshua a blonde with big titties, he's done.
Listen,
it's over.
Listen, you can see any girl I've ever talked to in the history of my dating. I have never dated a big titty blonde girl. That's not my type.
Not yet.
My type is the fact that sells. Why are you going away? I mentioned Sydney Sweeney because she's just the hot name right now. But you look at the girl who was at the Jake Paul fight, the other Sydney, whatever her name was. She just got famous because she has big tits and she's blonde and looked like Sydney
What
Sweeney.
you're talking about.
You're just not on Twitter like I am, I guess. But I say all this to say Bud Light may have had the greatest rebrand since then. So as we say this and talk shit about Jaguar, Shane Gillis just came out with his second Bud Light ad. It is brilliant.
I mean, that was a no-brainer when everything happened, when he was on Joe Rogan being like, bro, I still drink Bud Light. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that was that was like, hey, Bud Light, here's a second life for free, is what that was. And Shane Gillis has killed it. And he's also just been completely trendy.
We can't play the whole thing, but we will play a segment of it right now.
It is not just a fragrance. It is a feeling. It is a passion.
What? Oh, where'd you get a snake?
We are all lost,
Yeah, I'm lost. I'm 100% lost here.
but we are on the edge.
Hey, all right. This is pocket full of sand? That's, yeah. Hey, I think I'm in the wrong commercial.
What?
Yeah, dude, this isn't right.
Wait, aren't you Andre?
No, I'm Shane. My name's Shane.
Huh. Oh, I see what's going on. You're supposed to be in a Bud Light commercial.
Oh, I'm supposed to be in a Bud Light commercial, not here. So that's why I'm the odd one out down here.
Well, if you're here, Andre is.
Love it here. Oh, yeah. Something is different about you, ma'am.
I just ordered some wings in that other commercial. You think they're gonna make it here? You guys like wings? You blue cheese guy, ranch girl? You're a ranch girl. You guys like blood or something?
So after seeing that, I just want to say, one, Shane Gillis 100% had a piece of writing this, but we talk about it all the time. You watch the Jaguar electric vehicle ad, you wouldn't even know that's for an electric vehicle. You wouldn't even know what the fuck that was unless you knew what the company was. Bud Light literally memed that. They literally memed, they were making fun of this crazy, stupid, what the fuck is going on ad, and it's just like, yeah, this is not, we just drink beer. We make even the weirdos cool when you drink our beer. And I thought that was a funny, good ad. That was a good spinoff from going completely woke to going the whole other way, but not going so far right that you lose everything. It was a good middle ground.
I mean, it completely fit his character that he plays. And I don't think Shane plays a character. I think that's just who he is. And I think that's what makes comedians great, is that they're able to be themselves, but it's funny. And I think Shane did that to a T here.
I want more Shane Gillis. That type of energy, the Shane Gillis energy of saying whatever the fuck you want, that needs to come back. We've gone too far to the other end where it's like, it's just too much, bro. You can't be afraid to say what's on your mind.
The woke shit's dead.
It's dead, bro. It's got to be dead.
Go broke.
It's got to be dead.
But let's talk about another hot topic. Was the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight? I predicted it completely correct. It was a scam. They tried to make it look like a fight. It did not look like a fight, because when Mike Tyson actually tried, he's beating the fuck out of Jake. Jake would have lost that fight, I think, if Mike Tyson tried.
See, that's where I disagree. I think that it was a little fudged, and there was things.
There's too many pulled punches. He wasn't
it's
trying.
It's not even that. Like, people that don't know fighting, I think, are gonna say that. Bro, Mike was stuck in the mud. You look at an old Mike Tyson fight, he's moving his feet. Bro, Mike was stuck in the mud.
Because they made him do that.
I don't think so,
They
bro.
made him do
this
that.
guy had a blood transfusion fucking 6 months ago and almost died. I don't think he's in this crazy shape where he can fight. Anybody who's actually been in a fight knows you fight for 30 seconds and you're fucking dead. Yes, he did train for it. Yes, he's been fighting for his whole life, but the guy is damn near 60 years old. I don't disagree. Jake, when he said, oh, I didn't knock him out because I let up, I don't think that. I truly don't think that. Now, there was a couple times where Jake hit Mike, and I was like, oh, I feel like it made me sick to my stomach. I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel right.
It didn't feel right at all.
It didn't feel right. And now when I say that with all due respect, because I really respect what Jake and Mike did. That's going to go back. When you look back at history and they look at the pay-per-view and they look at how many people watched, they're not going to talk about it was a shitty fight or how bad it was. They're not really going to think that, because Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Money Mayweather, that's the most sold pay-per-view ever of all time, not even close. That I can vividly remember that fight Worst fight I've ever seen. Horrible, boring, damn near fell asleep in it. So people don't really remember that shit. I'll give it to them. What I'm more interested than Jake and Mike is Jake Paul and Logan Paul were on a podcast after, and they were kind of doing it for the show, but I think there's a thing where Jake and Logan will eventually fight. Not now, but it's going to be at the tail end of things.
I do think they will. They can't spoil that already. That's going to be at the tail end of their career.
That's the peak. That's the peak.
I completely agree, but I actually want to take a step back about Jake Paul fighting. His next fight has to be someone legit. He has to fight Ryan Garcia. Else his boxing charade is dead.
See, to
he's
me,
got to fight somebody fucking
it's
real,
not
young, who's actually a fighter, because he's yet to fight a real boxer.
No, he did. He fought a real boxer, Tommy Fury, and he lost. That's in
Okay,
honestly.
I actually forgot that.
And Jake did do a good job versus Tommy. He actually impressed me a little bit. To me, it made more sense for him to go fight Tommy again. He beats Tommy. Now he's on a trajectory to actually do something. To me now, since he fought Mike, it's almost like he's just going to take these money fights.
I have a question, Joshua. Maybe you can answer this. Would you call Tommy Fury an elite fighter?
Yes. He's an elite boxer. He's 100% elite boxer. He's one of those guys who's trending up, who's going to be a world champion one day. 100%. So that's where you have to go to that.
That would be a better fight than him fighting Ryan Garcia?
Because Tommy Fury is in the same weight class as Jake Paul. Ryan Garcia is 150 pounds. That makes no... Like, if Jake Paul does fight him, and guess what? He doesn't hit him because he can't hit him, but he catches him one time. Like, he's gonna fuck Ryan Garcia up. Like, Ryan's taking that fight thinking he's never gonna touch me one time. That's the only way you take that fight.
That's what I think would happen.
But I don't know. I don't think so.
And I don't want to take the side. What Jake has done has been incredibly impressive. We model our things after the Paul brothers. I just think his next fight has to be legit.
I don't think that's reality. To me, Jake Paul is going to take these money fights. Like, my next thing is he's trying to fight Conor McGregor. Like, his next fight is...
that's a good fight. I would take that.
But again, you're still not in the realm of, like, washed up fighter. And I hate to say Conor's washed, but he's had too many injuries. He's worth $1 billion. He's got so many other things going on. We talk about this all the time. It's like Kanye, you know... Kanye does a million different things. He doesn't rap. So when he does rap, it's like, it's okay now. When he just rapped, it was great. So it's different things. When Conor just fought, he was great. Now when he's doing a million different things, I don't know how great he is anymore. At fighting, he's still great. He's a legend. You can never take away the champ.
But the cocaine will help get him into the fighting shape and
Maybe,
back focus.
I think that boxing, Jake Paul, would be interesting. See, Jake was like, I'll do MMA with you. Now that's interesting. Now I think Conor's choking him out.
But you're going to my point. His next fight has to be someone serious that anybody can be like, oh, this is another bullshit fight. I'm telling you, it has to be.
I'm saying he's only going after the big ticket item. I'm not saying, because like Zachary, what you're saying is he needs a legit boxer. The legit boxer doesn't sell tickets. It's not going to be sexy. It's not going to sell pay-per-view.
A legit boxer would sell tickets.
No, it
with
won't.
Jake Paul.
No,
yes,
it won't.
Joshua, you're telling me putting fucking Ryan Garcia or Tank Davis or insert Joshua.
You're not. You don't even understand how weight classes work, Zachary.
It doesn't matter.
You don't understand how weight classes work.
No, weight classes don't matter. He just fought a fucking 55-year-old.
That was in his.
Matters.
Mike Tyson was a heavyweight, Zachary. You're a fucking idiot.
Nothing
Zachary.
fucking matters when you're fighting a 55-year-old.
No, Zachary.
Nothing matters.
You just said Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. Tank Davis is 130 pounds. Ryan Garcia is 115 pounds.
But at least it's a legit fighter who's
Zachary,
young.
You're fucking stupid. Tommy Fury is actually his weight class. That's why it made sense.
Tommy, but that's a real fight. Joshua, you're completely disproving. I said it needs to be a real fight. If he goes and fights Tommy Fury again, that's a real fight.
I said fight Tommy Fury.
Fight Conor McGregor. That's a real fight.
You're not even listening
Ryan
to me.
Garcia.
I said if he wants a real fight, he would fight Tommy Fury because it makes sense pay-per-view wise. He's not just going to fight some... Because listen, Zachary, who is the best heavyweight boxer in the world right now? Tell me. You don't have a fucking clue. Who's the best middleweight boxer in the world? You have no fucking clue. So you can't sit here and tell me, oh, he should fight this guy because he's gonna sell. It's not gonna sell tickets because no one knows who the fuck they are. People know who Ryan Garcia is.
That's
they know
why
Tank
I'm saying
Davis is.
fight them.
But those guys aren't legit boxers. For him to go to where he wants to go, that doesn't help him. Same reason why the Mike Tyson didn't help him.
I disagree.
It's the bag.
I
If you
disagree.
want the bag, he's pushing boxing, he's elevating boxing.
Fighting Tank
but he's
Davis
not
or
gonna
fighting
fight
Ryan Garcia and beating them 100% gets him to where he wants to go. You can be like, oh, they're heavyweights, they're too light, the different weight classes. They're quicker. They fought better. They've sold crazy pay-per-views. I'm telling you right now, if you go fight those two and he wins, it makes him way more legit. If he fights them and loses, guess what? It shows that he hasn't been fucking fighting.
There's a reason why Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, Jake responds to them, because he knows that he can get in the ring with them and not get knocked the fuck out. That's the difference. It's because he has 85 pounds, maybe almost 100 pounds on Tank, and has like 70 pounds on Ryan.
He would drop down to 185. He'd be fucking
No,
40,
he already
45
said that
pounds.
he will never go back to 185. He said he's only going to fight at 200. So you have to assume around 200. If he's at 150 and one guy's at 125, you have a 75 and a 50-pound difference.
Yeah,
in fighting,
but
that's a
Ryan
lot.
Garcia and Tank Davis would just gain a little bit of weight, and they're real fighters.
No, it's not.
And I'm not saying Jake's not a real fighter. I'm just saying his next fight, whether it's Tank Davis, whether it's Ryan Garcia, whether it's Tommy Fury, whether it's Conor McGregor, it just has to be a legit fight, and that's what started this whole argument here. Real fight.
But
has
it
to
has
be a real fight. Can't be fucking Mike Tyson. Can't be YouTuber fucking XYZ. It needs to be a real fucking fighter.
But it has to be also a real fighter that has a name. And that's what you're not also understanding. There's a lot of really, really good fighters that he could fight, but it would not have a draw to the general public. The reason why Mike Tyson sold is because even fucking little girls in Missouri know who the fuck Mike Tyson is.
Four names.
Okay,
Pick one.
But that's not how it always works, Zachary. Like Conor McGregor has a contract with UFC, so he can't just break his contract. So then, okay, that's Conor's out now. So now Tommy Fury, who he's trying to win a belt, Jake Paul doesn't really help him win a belt. That's how you catch a bag. So then maybe Tommy Fury doesn't really care anymore because he already beat him. So then you have Tank and Ryan, again, guys that are champions, guys that are doing it. It doesn't make sense. Ryan would, because Ryan doesn't give a fuck about anything right now. He's suspended. He knows it's not going to be a real sanctioned fight. So he's like, fuck it. While I'm suspended, we can go fight. Fuck it. I'll make a bag. But that doesn't legitimize Jake.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
I disagree.
It doesn't.
Completely disagree.
It really doesn't. It really, and again, you know nothing about boxing, so I'm not going to sit here and be like, we're arguing, but we're just pissing in the wind here. That's what I'm saying.
I know nothing about boxing, but fighting Ryan Garcia 100% makes Jake Paul a legit fighter.
It makes Jake Paul sell a lot of tickets and make a lot of money, but no one is looking at Jake in the boxing world who's a heavyweight or a light heavyweight going, wow, he beat Ryan Garcia 55 pounds lighter than him. Wow, that guy's doing it. Like, no one is saying that, Zachary, in the boxing world. Zero people.
Disagree.
Zachary, the heavyweight champion of the world, the light heavyweight champion of the world, would absolutely fucking dummy Ryan Garcia. Tank Davis would dummy them. You don't understand that because you're not in that world. These guys are way
Those
bigger
are
than
legit
them.
fighters.
Yet he
Who
should
have
be
been doing it
fighting
their whole
them.
life.
He needs to fight those guys. He needs to find a guy who's in his weight class, in his realm, that makes sense, where they have enough status where he can fight them and it makes sense and he can sell it. That's where it makes sense.
Once again, goes back to it being a legit fighter. Whole argument. I just gave three other names that I've seen come up more often than insert heavyweight match that makes sense. I just said the whole thing that matters, and his whole, I think, boxing career really matters. These next 1-2 fights has to be real, legit fighters, whether in his weight class or not, but real fucking boxers.
Hey, Dana White, in your new boxing league, you need to hire fucking Zachary because, hey, this guy knows how to matchmake fights. This guy knows how to matchmake fights for your league, so you should hire him because, hey, you're gonna sell some tickets here.
I'll sell fucking tickets, baby.
No, that's the dumbest take. I can't wait for people to fucking hear this take and just be like, this guy's retarded.
They're gonna be like, you're retarded.
No, they're not.
They're
They might think my take is retarded, but
'Cause
they're gonna be
it
like
is.
retard 1A, 1B. That's what it's gonna be like, but mine's gonna be like less.
I disagree. You're literally sitting here saying him fighting Ryan Garcia isn't a real fight.
Zachary,
How do you
that's
sleep
not
at
what I'm
night?
saying, dude.
How do you sleep at night?
I'm not saying that. Because we do have a Rob Jua interview at the end of this, so we don't want to take too long. But I do want to talk about J. Cole's album rollout because I think he's doing it pretty cool. I think he's doing it in a very interesting way that most artists aren't doing, or I haven't seen anything really like this. So J. Cole is dropping a podcast with a mixtape. So, for example, November 15th was episode 1. That was the come up. So that was his first mixtape he ever dropped. They are discussing the project on the podcast. 2 days later, Lights Please, etc. All the way the warm up, Who Dat, Friday Night Lights, which that'd be a good episode. I want to check that one out. Sideline Story.
Sideline Story is his best project by far.
And that one's coming out November 29th. So that one's coming up later this week. But it goes all the way to December 12th. And I'm assuming the 2 days later trend would put him at December 14th. I'm assuming a December rollout for J. Cole. And I think this is brilliant because a lot of these mixtapes, some of them are already on streaming services, some aren't. But they're being rolled out on streaming services with this. Brilliant. What a way. We saw it with Travis Scott earlier this year, dropping an old mixtape. Had crazy amount of streams the first week. It just shows that these old stuff still gets plays. You look at the top 10 albums of 2024, the 10th most streamed album is Eminem's Cleaning Up My Closet album, whatever the fuck that one is. It's like the Red Curtain. I forget the actual name of it, but it's classic album. This is great. We need more of this. I like that J. Cole's doing this, kind of an old head way to do it, but
no, I think
great.
This is what J. Cole actually needed to do with the beef and him kind of exiting it, then taking the song off his project that I can't remember the name of. I know it's up for a fucking Grammy, so sue me. But I think this is what he needed to do. I think J. Cole has a really good personality. I think he's a person who's operates at a very high conscious level, as I'd like to say. Like, he can talk about his feelings and be deeper, which is the reason Drake's becomes so successful is he's able to talk in interviews. And I think J. Cole can do the same thing. So I'm excited to see this. Some of them have already dropped and I had no fucking idea, but the Sideline Story, if you're a J. Cole fan, I think that's his best project. So if you disagree, then fucking roast me, but I think you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is great. I'm excited to see it. And it's also, you don't really see a guy like J. Cole ever do interviews, talk about things. It's a good way for an artist to like give you a couple nuggets that most people wouldn't have even thought of. I think this is great. I wish more artists that have a catalog would do something like this, because there is a deep cut for your fans that like have been with you from day one.
And if you made it this far, keep listening. Rob Jua is coming on, music executive. We love him. He gives great detail about the music industry. And if you're here for us, well, thank you for listening. Stay longer for the Rob Jua podcast. Until next time. Today, we are talking to Rob Jua for the second time, music executive, author, and obviously a motivational speaker. There's a lot of things going on in music right now, so we appreciate you making some time for us.
Oh, for sure, of course.
Literally from the top. Maybe the most important question I might ask you this whole podcast, and the answer really matters to me, and it might end the podcast. Who won, Drake versus Kendrick?
Oh, shit. Damn, bro, that's how we started. It depends what we speaking about. If we speaking about battle rap songs, Kendrick, right? Because to me, all Kendrick did was back-to-back. How Drake did back-to-back, Kendrick did back-to-back.
I agree.
He did the same thing.
I agree. Not Like Us was very much like people were singing that in the club.
Yeah.
Like, I think Drake beating Meek was like, what was Meek's song? No one remembered it, but everyone remembered back-to-back. Yeah. Everyone will remember Not Like Us from this.
But now we talking about who make records and who got the girls and who got the fans, and consistently Drake. But if this is just a rap battle question, probably Not Like Us won a little more because of it was a battle song and it was commercially viable.
Yeah.
But Drake songs was fire too, his back and forth.
I think so. That's my thing about this. I think from 10 years from now, the Drake songs are still going to be played, and I don't know if the Kendrick Not Like Us is going to be played. That's my biggest.
I don't know.
They don't play it because it's a party song.
I agree with you. I think that's the one chink. I think was Not Like Us is a club song. It's a song that athletes will play before a game. It's a song where you can play it anywhere, and that's the one thing. I said that to you. I said, if Kendrick's next album doesn't sound like Not Like Us, I think it's a huge flop and a big miss on his half, because that's what everyone wanted.
It's just fun as an anthem, because people who like Not Like Us, to be honest, wasn't really they liking it because they want to diss Drake. They just like, yo, they not like us. You not like, I'm better.
Yeah,
that's really what it is. Yeah, it's not really a Drake diss. Drake is fire, right?
Kendrick did walk back a little bit. on the song, where it was like he was playing into the Drake, pedophile thing, but now he's kind of since walked it back a little bit, which I thought was really interesting.
That's just rap shit talking.
Yeah, it's just shit talking. That's what I said.
It's a sport.
It's a sport, man.
I agree. I think it all comes down to like at some point, especially you're in an argument, you're always gonna say shit that's a little bit more like
It's like you arguing with your chick. She be like, that's why you that day like, oh shit, there's the low belt, the low blows. You know what I mean?
Do you think that's why Kendrick got the Super Bowl halftime, was because of that beef and because of that momentum, or do you think it?
I think there's a lot of politics in the background,
of course.
But what? Let me add this part. So I hung out around Drake and Chubbs and his team. I went to something that Chubbs invited me to, and
how long ago was this?
This was maybe a couple months ago.
Great.
Yeah, something in the city. So it was a party, like a little private party, and to watch how their team moves and how Drake and Chubbs, everybody treat everybody, and everybody good. Everybody, like, I got treated great, to be honest. Like, and I'm not part of the team. I just was a guest and got treated amazing. And to watch how that system work and just watch how everyone's treated good. And Drake wasn't acting bigger than anybody. Drake was sitting in the corner just like a regular guy. And I was like, yo, I like that shit. Like, that's dope to be around someone and see how it looks to be around when someone's take care of their team. That's what I saw. I was like, oh, this guy takes care of his team. And I respect that, because a lot of crews in music, their team don't look good. The artists look good, but the team look, dirty. Like, they look like they're not doing well. Yeah. And what I saw, everyone I felt great. I felt like, I felt amazing. And I respect that from seeing it.
That goes perfectly into a point someone told me about the Kendrick-Drake beef when it first started. There, Drake drops very consistently. Mm-hmm. Kendrick is very sporadic in a lot of ways. Every 3-4 years, he's dropping a project. And the person said, Kendrick looks at music as art, and Drake looks at it like a math problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that, talking about his team and how they treat everybody, he's very much has the recipe. He knows what makes a hit. He knows how to roll, and he knows how to treat people, because guess what? Life is very long. And you don't know what relationship you're going to need in 5, 8, 10 years. And I think that's why Drake has become so massive in a lot of ways. And that's why the music industry was going after him. Yeah. He's been so good for so long, whereas most people aren't good for more than a year.
You got to go after the biggest dog. So they just went, he was the biggest dog, and everybody, once you that big, everybody turns on you. So is overall the bigger artist overall is probably Drake, the bigger one overall.
Right.
That was just a little tiff. But what I saw, being around them, everyone was happy. Everyone looked good. I got there, security waiting for me, took me upstairs. It was like, Chubbs made sure I was great. So for what I saw from being around them, I see why this guy had success. I didn't see anything that was selfish. Everyone looked happy. Everybody was taken care of. Even all the guests were taken care of. They closed the whole thing down. I think Drake bought the whole club and bought the whole bar, and everybody, it was like they just turned the club to their living room, and everybody was like, yo, whatever I got, you got. It was that kind of energy.
Staying on Drake, because I am very curious. I don't know if you're familiar with, he just dropped his own 100 gigs where he was dropping his own music on his own website with it was music, videos, a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, a bunch of deep cuts. Mm-hmm. And it came out that Drake did that for leverage against Universal Music for his next deal. And reportedly his last one was $500 million or $400 million, something like that. They don't really know exactly
just under
what it was.
500.
Yeah, it was for Universal. That was just for distributing, and I'm assuming that's why he was touring for so long. He said he did that as leverage to show, if I'm independent, I can kind of do whatever I want. How would the music industry react if a guy like Drake or a Taylor Swift was just I'm going independent?
They would just bow and partner.
You think it would just be that easy?
They're partnering with them.
Because I remember a while ago, Kanye West said that there was a time where Spotify was just the music industry, we have $500 million for artists. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you're Drake, Taylor Swift, Kanye, Jay-Z, you guys got to all split it. And he was like, whoa.
That's wild.
That's wild. Yeah. So I'm just curious, do Drake and the Taylor Swift, do they really have that much power where they're Universal needs me? Or is it?
You have power, but you still bind by that contract you signed. So yeah, you could flex your muscle, but what really goes down is what's in black and white.
Right. So but once they were out, so say Drake's done with his or Taylor was done with their deal, and they were just I'm going fully independent.
Yes.
how would like a company like Universal react to that? Like, would it be like, oh shit, we like need to get them back. We need to find some way.
Need is relative. It's like who owns the masters. If I own the masters, I don't need to get you back because it's big. The bigger you get with your new records, I own the masters, which is going to keep driving up. So a need, no. It's just we never know who has the rights in the background.
Right.
So yes, you could leave and be indie, and your next album goes crazy. But guess what? That spikes all the other albums that I have the masters to. So go crazy.
Yeah. Do you know if Universal owns Drake's masters? You don't know?
No. Is that pretty much in the weeds? Like, does no one know who owns masters? Is it like very so when Drake during the beef, he was kind of like being like pointing at like, I own a lot of these guys that are talking about. Do you think he was just like trolling them, or was he like, no, he might actually own some of these guys?
Invested in who's ever invested in their masters or publishing.
Okay. And that's the Larry Jackson theory.
But you gotta think, even when like Kendrick and Drake beefing, like they all signed to one company. So
right.
Like,
that's
good for everybody.
Yeah. So everyone's eating.
Everybody eating. It's fun, bro. It's boxing. Mike about to fight.
But
Paul,
you have to
like, it's just fun, bro.
And this actually is a great segue because obviously you're older than us and you've been in the game a lot longer than us. When was the last moment like a Drake and Kendrick beef? And I probably know the answer, but like when was the last moment?
Jay and Nas, to me.
When was that? What year was that?
That was like what, 90s? Early 2000s?
2002.
Do you think it was as big as the Drake and Kendrick? Because obviously like the internet, social media is very much a thing. You think, was it bigger?
Was it more dangerous maybe?
It was more dangerous.
I think that's
back then, like when we started, like you was in, like if you said it, you better live it.
Right.
Like rap beef was dangerous.
I feel like now it's like a lot more. We say it, but we could pass.
No,
it
it's
be
still
like,
dangerous. You see certain situations, it's still dangerous.
It's happening right now.
It's not really the rappers, it's the entourage. It's not the rappers. The rappers got too much to lose. They're a public figure. They have money. They have things going on.
Right.
But the entourage is dangerafro
I mean, listen, if you're in the rap game and you don't have a couple people that are willing to crash out, then you probably don't have the right crew.
I'm not in the rap game no more. I'm in Afro space. I've been there, done that.
For your artist, though, like if you have an artist that has an entourage that's a little sketchy, how are you reacting to that?
I'm not even signing anyone in that energy. So that's me.
Smart.
I'm different. I'm a grown up with kids. Like I'm not even putting myself in that energy. I don't care how amazing you are. If you coming with that negative energy, you got all these things around you, and your music is phenomenal, I'm not touching that.
Once again, perfect segue into what's actually going on in the music space with Young Thug, Lil Durk. What's your take on, I guess, I know they're kind of two different situations, but like a 10,000 foot view of that? Because that's kind of like the entourage, and they were definitely doing something outside of music, very gifted musically, but the other things outside of music are now causing them very, very real legal trouble.
I feel like with all that stuff, you don't really know what's going on, because when you're the public figure, anything anyone does, you get blamed for. So I'm not saying anyone is good, bad. I have no idea, but I do know when you're the public figure, you're going to get the blame first because it's easy. Just like it's just easier.
Yeah.
Like people just, the bigger you are, is just like, bro, the bigger you are, the more people just go at you.
100%.
So like you can't. I don't know what's what, to be honest. Like I do say, for younger artists, pay attention to your surrounding. Everyone is there when the money's flowing, the girls is going, and you lit. And when you getting issues, you start seeing who's who and what's what. So it's better kind of to, scale back and cut the fat early, because those people take you down.
100%.
They didn't work for what you work for. They didn't do everything you do to get what you have. So they don't respect it or appreciate it or protect it as you would. This is just fun.
And I don't know how much of the situation you actually know what's going on with Thug, with the plea deal and everything. How much do you think, and this is more like your personal opinion, do you think it'll affect his music coming out? Because he can't be in Atlanta, can't say certain things. Like, how much do you think that actually affects him? Or are you like, he's just so gifted, he'll figure it out?
To be honest, I didn't watch a lot of it because I come from Brownsville, Brooklyn, and I saw I saw a lot of black men getting issues, right? So I have a sensitivity of just more black men getting into more shit. So I purposely wasn't like tapped into the frequency. I was just like, I hope all is well. Now that he's out of it, and they're saying he can't go to Atlanta and all that stuff.
For like 15 years.
Yeah, he's basically on probation for 15 years. He can't say it. He can't incite or say anything about violence, gang, anything to do with that.
He probably, after going through what he went through, he probably was thinking that anyway.
I literally said to him, I was like, the best thing he could do is not go back to where he was at.
Yeah.
Go take him as far away from Atlanta as possible. Go take him.
I mean, you you can't change a person. So you
Right.
can take a person wherever. If that's
100%.
dumb, that's dumb.
Yeah.
But I think when you go through certain real situations that crack you internally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you're forced to change. So even with the limitations they put on him, he probably put that on himself before they even told him. Because he had so much to lose. I remember he's sitting
That's a
there
great 2
watching
years.
his life flash
Yeah.
by. You
That's a
like,
great
oh
point.
shit, he probably got a wake-up call. What they told him he can't do, he probably told himself more than that, period. He probably was already thinking, I'm going to move out of Georgia.
Yeah.
So we don't know those
Yeah.
nuances because you're not in his internal circle to know what reprogramming he done already.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he was there for 2 years. I can
a
only
great point.
imagine that he was like, I could be here forever.
Yeah,
And that,
he-
that's
he's-
something that would
The things that they told him, he probably like, yeah, I was already thinking this. So he
100%.
probably like, thank you,
Yeah.
God. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
you don't know how he flipped it already.
No, 100%. I'm actually curious. You got your book out front of here, Rich Again.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. Like, what's in it? What can people expect from it?
Mm-hmm.
And give us the 10,000-foot view.
So the 10,000-foot view, Rich Again is a spiritual roadmap to get you back to your God-given riches, right? So for me, I always felt like we all were born rich. As a child, your parents take care of everything. You have no sins, no pain, nobody hurt you, and you're just happy. You have everything you want. Then you become a young adult. You go through pain. You go through not having money. You go through losing your chick. You go through your friends. You go through just life, and you get spiritually depleted. Then you have to find yourself again through whether it's reading, meditation, journeys, hitting your lows, finding people like your content and Gary Vee and all that. You got to go find yourself and put deposits of motivation and positivity and good habits back into you. So I just kind of was like, man, there's no book out there to tell people how to do it that speaks like how, I don't want to say kids, but how the culture speaks.
Right.
All the books are like big, 1,000 pages, like, The Secret and all this stuff.
Very
They're-
much.
They're telling you what to do, but it's like, it's so long-winded that you get lost in the too much information and you don't get to the message. So I said, man, instead of me complaining about there not being a book that gets to the point that sounds like us, let me write it. So I wrote it.
That was the first thing I noticed was it was a thinner book, and I was like, I like that
Yeah, I
because
did it on
it's
purpose.
really to the point.
Because you can just take it, bing, bong, open it, get back to it. And there's a book and a workbook. So everything in there, I have stories of things I've been through in life in Brooklyn, New York, the Rockefeller, all my whole stories in it. And I use my stories as an example of why I have these deposits. And these are the deposits of just habits and things you should do because it'll help you get to where you need to go. And I back it up with facts from my personal story, then I back it up with exercises to show you like how to do it. Because everyone tells you, here you go on Instagram, you want to make $10,000 doing faceless ads, all that shit everybody's selling, and no one tells you how to really do anything.
Yeah.
So I put actual steps that you could try, and it forces you to walk yourself through and realize at the end of all of this, you had the answer already. My story
Literally.
and my vulnerability just allowed you to get it out of you.
So is there more? Sorry to interrupt. Is there more? Is there one? Is there an audio book to it? And two, where are all the places that you can get? Is it Amazon, your website?
The audio book is coming, and then you could get it on Amazon. And Amazon
Yeah,
60
everything.
all the global
Of course.
stores.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was literally just saying yesterday, which
Mm-hmm.
is so funny that your book is small because my last 2 books I've ordered have been like massive. I'm like, I get halfway through and I'm like, fuck, I'm so sick and tired of this. I've pretty much got what I wanted out of the book. And I was like, if you can't write a book in less than 200 pages, I feel like you shouldn't write the book.
I cut all the fat. And you know what? I was feeling bad for writing the book so short. And it was a book I found. I had a truck. I had a Suburban. I was selling it. And in back of it, it was a book sitting in the back seat that I don't even know where this book came from. And it was a book about how to write a short book and get to the point. And I was like, God, I hear you. And I read the book,
Yeah.
and the book was saying, and this guy sold millions of books. I don't even remember his name. And he was just pretty much saying, get to the point and write your book the way you speak. Don't worry about what people think and being grammatically this.
Yeah.
Write it the way you speak. And I was like, oh, shit. And that literally freed me to allow me to finish the book. Because I started the book in 2018. I just kept starting and stopping, starting and stopping, starting and stopping. Life kept changing. So much shit kept changing around me that I kept starting and stopping. And finally, I was like, yo, the information I have is so valuable to so many people. And I need to let it go. And, bro, when I tell you, like, putting out this book has spiritually freed me, and watching people call me and give me testimonials and tell me how this has changed their mindset and all that. Because I didn't write, like, a book to tell you how to be successful. Only you know how to be successful. I'm just telling you some habits and some principles and some things that work for me that I think can work for you, and you'll figure out what your success is.
Is that your first book you ever wrote?
Yeah, my first
So
book.
again, we just had a friend who kind of had a very similar process. Obviously, way different book, more of a textbook style book. But he again started like 2018 and just released the book like a couple months ago, and it was like that journey of figuring out like, oh fuck, like there's a process of like not only learning how to write the book, but just learning how to like say things, do things, and it's like I bet you on book 2 you're gonna be like,
I could do
got
book
it.
2 now, probably in a month.
Exactly.
2 months tops.
But it's that training that you've trained
It's
yourself.
the unlock.
The
Yeah,
unlock. I've
exactly.
gotten unlocked. And like what I have to say too, like writing these books takes so much from you spiritually and energetically. Like, not to make it similar to sex, but you know, like that shit is like that, bro. It's like, whoa, like my energy, I am just now recharging back from everything I gave in this book. Like all the stories, all the vulnerability, the things I didn't want to speak about, bro. But I was like, if I don't give this up and I don't, it'd be selfish for me to not share my story and lessons. But I have to admit, the energy that goes into books, art, music, all this stuff, the creator loses some energy that has to get replenished. And it gets replenished
That's
from
real.
going back around other creative, going back around other things that you get inspired from.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So yeah, and that's why like I can see the energy I put into it, how people are responding, because I really gave all my energy, a lot of energy to it. And I really was like very unselfish because I knew that these lessons will help people.
That's really real, and we appreciate you explaining that. So you have the book. You're going through a little bit of a transition in the music industry. Give us just like a state of emergency in the music industry. Like, what are you
People
seeing?
getting
These
fired,
systematic things,
left
the
and right.
firings.
Everybody getting fired, let go.
Why is that? Why are people getting fired, let go? Like, is it just the reset music industry likes to do every 10 years, 20 years, or is it like there's something really happening?
I think everyone's trying to figure out what's about to happen with rights ownership and AI. That's number one. I think a lot of people in music business are in certain positions because they're someone's friend, and that doesn't mean they're the best skilled for the job. So now we have to look at who could do this shit for real and who's just here because you're someone's homeboy or homegirl. So I think there's a lot of opening the hood and seeing who's who and what's what. And you open the hood and you realize a lot of people in music business don't know how to make music, number one, so I don't understand how you're in the music business. And then number two, they're not great at business, so I don't understand how you're in the music business. And number three, they just here for the paycheck, so why you here? And it just was time to clean house. And I think house is just being clean. And you have people like me who like, yes, because this whole time I've always been independent entrepreneur mind thinking. Even when I worked at labels, I still was like thinking like, all right, how am I gonna build something? So watching everyone get fired wasn't scary for me because my situation, I left before all of the bloodshed happened to just think about what am I going to make that I can control and I can steer the wheel, because I'm going to bet on myself before I put my whole future in someone else's hand. So the firing didn't affect me because I left before, but the firing affect me because, you know, I'm still like, okay, while I'm building my things, do I work at another label and where? And shit is like weird right now, but the best thing I ever did was build something for myself during all of this and rolling the dice, not knowing where it was going to go. Scary as shit. And again, I'm doing what I'm doing now is what I talk about in my book. I live this book. Everything I'm saying, and roll the dice, trust God, trust the universe, move as if it's already done. You have to, even when you don't have nothing right now. I'm tired right now, bro. I can't even tell you what the next step look like. But I can tell you what the next step look like.
Yeah. So you said you got out of, so you kind of got out of hip hop. You're kind of moving into a new direction. Mm-hmm. One, what made you go into this new direction? Like, what was like, you know, you said you went to Afro beats more. Like, what brought you to that rather than like a pop or like a country music? Because again, I see a ton of people right now that country music is taking a ton of stuff from hip hop. Hip hop's kind of being like shit. You got like the Post Malones, the Shabuzis that are like, oh, we can slide over. What made you go into that?
So I didn't leave hip hop. I'm a hip hop baby for life. Right. So what I did is expanded on African music, because guess what is African music too? Hip hop. Hip hop comes from African descendants. Yeah. All this shit is African. So I got into it because I A&R'd Akon's Afro album, and to be honest, I don't even speak about that enough. I A&R'd the biggest African artist album, his Afrobeat album, and that's when I really got into Afro space around 2018. And from there, I always just kept an eye on it. I was like, this does something to my spirit. I didn't know how to put it in words, but I said it make my spirit feel happy. So I was still dabbling in rap with the rappers. I mean, I kind of met y'all through working with rappers
Right.
and stuff like that. But my spirit was still in Afro. And I always said, the artist that I find, that I sign, that's just under my company, not me building everyone else's company, is going to be music that feels like what Afro beat make me feel like. So honestly, it was how my spirit felt. My spirit felt clean, it felt happy, it felt joy. I could play this music around my kids. Like, that's what I want to be in. I want to be involved in things that make me feel good. And that's how I got really into the Afro space. And early last year is when I found an act, Jaya, I speak about. And his music made me feel like that happy feeling I felt when I was putting Akon's project together. Yeah. And that was it. It was just a spiritual feeling. I followed my gut. It wasn't even you're gonna go into Afro. It was just like, no, you're gonna go into a happy space.
I think when we first originally talked, you talked about Jaya a little bit. It was a little
Yeah.
bit. How has that progressed since the first time we talked? Because when you first did, it was so new, I think,
Yes.
that we didn't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah, so when I first spoke to you about him, I had just signed him and we were just getting him together. Since then, I did a partnership with Prescription Songs. They're like one of the biggest independent publishing companies. They also have Friday and Doja Cat and other people. And Jai's like their leading guy from Africa. He's the guy.
That's awesome.
So I did a partnership with them for Jaya on the publishing side, which is big news. That I should probably speak about more. I'll be thinking about what's next.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did a partnership with them for Jaya's publishing side. We released his first official single called Don't Tell. Lagos, Nigeria is loving it. It's all over the radio, all over the TV. We started the first week with like 60 spins, and maybe a couple weeks after that, we like got 600 spins. Like, we just been growing. He's playing on TV maybe like 7 to 10 times a day on every TV station. So, to watch it happen, and it just, again, is what I had in my head. When I first signed him, I saw this already. So it just feels good that it's all happening now, and I'm back in New York to take meetings and seeing like who's gonna be my partner on the label side, because I have a partner on the publishing side. Who's gonna be my partner on the releasing the music side?
I think it's really interesting. There's a huge story that just came out with Idris Elba, who's now moving into Africa to build their film out. Same thing what you just said. Gave you a good feeling, and you were like, there's so much untapped potential in that realm that I think that I can do it. Where rap right now, I think personally, like, it's very saturated. Everyone in here's rapping, making music, whatever. Where I think an avenue you've touched is almost like something that in America, at least, is very fresh. Idris Elba is now doing the same thing, but for music in Africa. And he just found these kids that basically, I don't know if you know what CapCut is, but it's basically an iPhone editing app that these kids from Africa literally made with an iPhone, a full-fledged superhero movie, and he just signed them to like make an actual movie. And I just think about like there's so much untapped potential in these things that aren't mainstream. And I don't know, I just wanted to say that because it just made me think of that thing. I was like, man, Idris Elba's in that same realm where he's like, there's just so much talent that is just not even, it just hasn't even been tapped into.
I'm opening up an office out there. It's going to be a house. It's going to have the studio. It's going to have the content room. It's going to have just a bunch of creative spaces and educational spaces. And that is the future, bro. Like, they have that's the youngest continent on the planet. If you don't think they're going to take over with music, with AI,
100%.
with natural resource, like, that's everything is there, and whoever doesn't see it, good luck.
I mean, they made like the fact that they, like, I edit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they made a movie on CapCut is baffling. Like, like baffling.
When you don't have resources, you get more creative.
100%.
That's
Think about
no doubt.
it.
That's no doubt.
When you have too much shit, you like, you get confused, right? Like when you go grocery shopping and your fridge is full, you almost don't know what to eat.
Exactly.
But when you just got eggs, cheese, and bread, you're gonna make an egg, cheese, and bread sandwich. And you're gonna make the best one, because
For sure.
you just focus when you have less. So they don't have a lot. That's why their music and their things they create are so great, because they have this and this, and I need to use my imagination to make that. And it makes it a little better sometimes.
I also think they team together too,
100%.
which breeds greatness. Whereas in America, and really what you've seen in the rap game, I just was telling Joshua the other day, when the song Forever came out, with Drake, Eminem, Lil Wayne, Kanye, like, that was the best song probably of my life. And there hasn't been another one like that. And I think it's because everybody's like, well, I don't want to jump on a song with 5 people. I just want to make my own thing because I get more money. Whereas the greatness of having 5 literally goats that would be on anybody's Mount Rushmore doing a song together breeds the legacy. And I think that's what you're seeing in Africa. These places that aren't America that don't have unlimited resources, and they team together, and that's what makes like the greatness. Like you going together, it's slower, but you go way farther, and I think that has been lost in hip hop and really just creatively in first worlds.
I'd rather show up with what I'm best at and contribute that, and just be a part of the team than be the star. I am the star. I don't gotta try to be a star. That's ego when people want to be the one and worry about being the main person. I've been the main person my whole life. I always had girls. I always had everything. Even when I didn't have money, I always had all the attention. So when you come from always being the cool person because you just didn't care, when you get there, you still don't care. But if you were never kind of cool and then you get there, you want it all for yourself because you're playing a role at that point. The money's making you feel like that. So you don't want to share. You want to be the only one. You don't want to collaborate. But if you are okay being a role player and realize it doesn't diminish anything about you, you don't care. Like, but I play on the team. I don't care. I'm going to do me anyway. And we're going to kill it because we're doing it together.
100%. We obviously came from the sports background, so we're always about the team. I want to move on because you have another book with you, and I'm curious what this is.
So this is $1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan. My brother and business partner Ty Reynolds put me onto this. So Noah started a company called AppSumo, which I know you guys should know. If you don't know about AppSumo,
you have to tell us.
Noah, where you at? Noah, you got to pay us for this. So AppSumo is a marketplace to buy apps and software at a discount with a lifetime membership.
Oh,
AppSumo is crazy.
Interesting.
No, look it up.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out.
So
I'll definitely have to look it up.
Noah created AppSumo, and he created 8 other successful business. And he just was like, you know what? I think I can teach people how to make $1 million business in a weekend. And I was like, bullshit. So my brother sent me the book, and I'm halfway through it. But it's pretty remarkable. He teaches you how to simplify this whole this whole big ass thing we have in our head. He like simplifies it and teaches you how to do it without spending any real money to test it before you even bring it to market and stuff like that. So far the book has been pretty good. I have it with me along with my book, and I show love to people. This is collaboration because this book is changing me. Is rewiring what I thought.
Yeah,
and that's why I brought it with me. That's why I'm showing love to it. So Noah Kagan, we're gonna follow each other. We're gonna work together, and you're gonna come on the show. Come check my guys.
Yeah,
he's a big dog though.
Yeah,
he runs AppSumo. It's huge. They do about 65. They've made about 65 million up to date. They're killing it. And he's just, when you see him, he also interviews a lot of successful multimillionaire billionaires on his podcast. And as rich as he is, he meets these other guys, and he just act like a whole student, bro. He's so humble, and I love him for that because, yes, he's made 65 million, but he's interviewing Pat Bet-David, and he just asking questions like a whole student. And it's like his humility is very impressive to me because he's so successful. So yeah, his podcast is fire, bro. He asks some amazing questions, and he's so regular.
I love that because the smartest people can make a child understand it, and I think that's the most powerful thing. Like making things that are complex, making them super simple. Mm-hmm. That changes everything because it just takes something to click in your brain. Once it clicks, you're like, oh shit. And some people are too smart for their own good. They can't explain it to someone who doesn't get it because they're like, they've already skipped 20 steps.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta just walk them a couple, and they're like, oh shit. So I do like that.
Writing the book and walking people through has even allowed me to walk myself through what I've learned. Because you're so quick to get to your next lesson, you don't really digest this lesson. So this forced me to slow down and remember what I know. I forgot how much I actually know because I'm always like, what's next? Ambitious people just like, what's next? Yeah. But what you know is so valuable that you just overlook it sometimes. So now I'm like, man, what's next? I need to go, do speaking engagements. I need to go talk to the kids. I want to, everybody has been like, Rob, why don't you do a podcast? I'm like, oh, fucking, I don't know. I just want to talk. I don't want to sit there and do all this shit sometimes. But it has opened up my mind to what my voice is and how valuable my experience, but how valuable my delivery is to people. And honestly, I knew it a little bit, but it didn't hit me till putting out a book. The putting out a book has shown me so much more about myself. So it's helped me too, along with me trying to help people. I've have received help by doing so.
Did you get help writing the book at all? Did you have somebody feeding you ideas, like this is how we should structure it, or was it all pretty much yourself?
No, I was just writing it and then I share it with my friends. So yeah, I had constructive feedback, like what do you think? What do you think? And then towards the end, one of my homegirls, Tempest, I was like, yo, can you look this over for me? And she was like, man, this is pretty great. You just need like 3 or 4 grammatical corrections, but like you kept this so authentic to you. So I trusted my voice, and I read enough books to kind of figure out structure. And then there was a part of that where I had to say, fuck all that, because it was a time where I almost overstructured it and it didn't feel like me. Right. So it was just a balance of like trying to be perfect, but am I trying to be perfect, or am I trying to be like other things that inspired me? Is that me? So I went through that fight, and then I finally was like, no, I need to be me. If this shit don't feel like me, scrap it. So it was plenty of times I've erased whole chapters, whole deposits. I call the chapters deposits. I've erased them because they didn't feel like me.
So while we're keeping it on the feel like me and on brand, how often do artists in the music game use ghostwriters or writers, essentially when they're making music?
All the time.
So it's very normal.
Yeah. Why not?
What percentage of the industry do you think doesn't use writers? Like less than 1% or more?
15, but you could tell who don't use writers because their music doesn't grow. So you can tell who uses writers and who doesn't.
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
The people who use writers, their music change. They start playing with different genres, different melodies, different beats. The people who don't use writers, their beats sound the same the whole time. They're not getting better, and they're not getting worse.
That makes sense because it honestly, the industry, like outside of the industry, like people on social media, they'd be like, oh, this guy's got writers on a song, da-da-da. Like, but you look at, again, we talked about earlier, Not Like Us. That had 4 or 5 writers on that song. It's probably his biggest song he'll ever write. Right. You know what I mean? So there's definitely something to it.
I would write a book. I would co-collab a book with somebody.
100%.
Do you know how much energy this took for me to do this?
100%.
I would write with somebody right now.
Well, we do it all the time. Like we collaborate on everything. Like it just makes it better to have someone else on it.
Now I love that we have like shit to not help us now, like AI and all that stuff to help.
100%.
But like collaboration is everything. Like the next book, I think I'm gonna write it with someone. Like it's just better, bro. It took so much out of me, and I'm realizing I'm glad I did it this way. The next way, I'm open to however I have to do it. And someone approached me to turn this book into a script too. Recently.
Oh, you should.
Yeah.
100%. Why not?
Yeah. So
as we round it out, though, I think I want to ask a couple questions. Obviously, biggest thing we kind of alluded to it earlier, but Diddy, for example, he's a New York guy. Have you ever been to a Diddy party?
No.
And what is this big stipulation of like? Do you think because people went to a Diddy party, are they a bad person, or is this like a whole different realm of things underneath it?
No, I've never been to a Diddy party. I was too young to even be around any of that shit. And then when I got older, I heard it was wild, and I didn't go. Yeah. I didn't, I'm not a guy who just want to be out in the mix. I'm not an in the mix person. I'm very intentional. So I don't need to go to a freak off. Like,
I'm always curious because I'm like,
and I even say that's what he had, right? I don't know that's what they're calling it, right? But like, I think people there's a freak off happening in somebody's crib right now.
100%.
People just, humans 100%. Are freaky. They fuck. 100%. That's why we here. It's just that person is bigger. Now all the other allegations, I don't know what's true or not.
And just because, and I want to say this, just because you went to a Diddy party doesn't mean you're bad because, listen, the parties probably were wild and they probably were cool. And there's probably plenty of people that went there and had a good time.
But
and
people
were safe.
like wild parties.
But there's things that happen the later it goes on in the night, behind closed doors that not everybody.
But did you
can
see the
participate
NDAs
in.
though? Did you see the NDA for Diddy? He
wild.
had the NDAs for his party were fucking wild. It was 20 years after he dies, you can talk about it, or 70 years, whatever one's longer.
First of all, if you go, if someone is known for a certain thing and you go around them, you wanted to participate. You didn't just go. If you know what it is and you go, you know, hey, some shit may go down, but you already thought about this before going. So people look, bro. People horny, bro. People like fucking, bro. Like fucking feels awesome, right? Right with the right person, right connection.
100%.
Now all the other shit, that's different, right? Some people into shit, like, and I'm not here to judge who's into what because, again, someone is fucking right now, bro. Somebody's about to right now. Somebody's thinking about it right now. I'm thinking about it right now. Like it's just, it is what it is. Right. But now, what people do in their private life or use that shit in for you to get ahead business wise, that's when it get a little weird. But like, I don't think it's just a him thing. I think it's an empower thing. It could be in any industry, right? That shit could be 100%. In tech. That shit could be anywhere because there's men and women in every industry, right? There's women who come on to men aggressively. There's powerful women.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
I'm not saying no name. There's powerful women who will come on to you. You look fine, motherfucking
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? What you trying to do? Oh, you trying? Okay, yeah. What you doing tonight? Look, man, I'm trying to push some shit. Yeah, come push me. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like I can't. I don't know who's right or who's wrong. I just say, man, be smart, be private. I
For
don't know
sure.
who's what.
So while we're on the topic,
Yeah.
how has the Diddy thing affected the music industry? Do you think there's actually any like systemic issue within that, or you're just as
I don't think
part of the game?
I don't think it affected. I don't. See
I don't think it affected them. I know that, again, we were talking about earlier, all these record labels getting cut and people fired and stuff. A lot of people on social media, I know we talked about before, a lot of people at social media were like, oh, they were at the Diddy things, they're getting exposed. And it's like, maybe, but I don't think it's that.
Everybody talk about something that they're not in.
100%.
Like, and I can't speak about. I'm in music, but like I'm part of it. I'm not in it like that because I'm in disruptive label. I'm in my thing, and I'm partnering with certain things in it. So like, I don't go to rooms that my energy tell me not to go to. I'm not trying to be in certain mixes. So I ain't. You know what I mean?
Independent labels are like 20% of the industry. I think
Yeah.
it's like 20%. 80% is like UMG,
Warner Music
Warner, and whatever the Sony. So it's like, you really are kind of in your own thing, just trying to disrupt the next thing.
That's my name. My company's called Disruptive Label. I'm focused on what I want to disrupt. I'm here to be the biggest company that showcases, develops, and nurtures and bring African diasporic talent to the world. I have a specific focus, and that's it. I'm not attached to what everyone is doing. I don't go to parties to hang out. You ain't catching me being around just to be around. I don't chase women. I'm not chasing anything. I'm just like, man, this look like something that may make sense. Let's try it. But I'm not in the mix. I'm not mixy, so
For sure.
it's a little different. Some people
Big Machine Records, when they found Taylor Swift, they were just an independent fucking label doing country music, and they were like, holy shit, we might have found a pop star.
Yeah.
So it is real. I mean,
I like what's happening now because right now I hear all these A&Rs and everyone's talking about, oh, it's not about the data anymore. It's not about this. I'm like, bullshit. I took a lot of meetings with you motherfuckers and y'all talking about data. When I'm like, no, I know music. I know Goosebumps. And I know how to produce. And I know how to write. Oh, okay, I see the future. So I understand sitting with someone who's data heavy. They lean on data because they don't know how to make the music. If you know how to make the music and you know how to develop an artist and you know how to bring the vision to the light, you're not worrying about data. Because guess what I know how to do? If I develop this properly, I could go get the data making motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But I made the product. So I always had confidence. Even before I did this deal with Jaya, I had confidence. When I met Jaya, there was nothing there. Nothing. Jaya, Spotify was like 100 people, some shit, 100 monthlies. And I still didn't care because I knew the talent. And I knew how to develop it. And I knew how to make it a global sound. I knew what partners in my team like Ty and UC, I knew who to go get to develop it. And I knew developing it may take 3 years. So I didn't give a fuck about data because I understand you got to develop a star. You can't gas me with data. I see past all that data shit. People buy data, bro.
yeah.
Like, let's be real.
Well, we talk about it all the
Literally.
time. We even said it to ourselves. We're like, we're so not about the data that like we'll have a video that has millions of views and we'll just like be like, oh, that's cool. And we just move on to the next thing. We're not like, let's study this thing. How can we? And we're just like, bro, we're just trying to build them. We're just trying to build it.
I like data for me understanding what worked.
Right.
That's it.
It's
But
good reassurance.
It's good
Reassurance.
reassurance of 100%, but it's like you just said, the feeling it makes, if we're getting that feeling, it's going to make other
I'm
people feel that way.
not picking data over my intuition.
100%.
Agreed.
No, I'm going with my gut. And if I have to take time and patience to build something, I build it. I'm going with my gut over data all day.
I mean, data is very corporate.
Yeah.
That's like what the labels and the
they
machine
should.
Yeah.
runs
It's
off
bottom
of.
line. I'm
It
gonna
makes
figure out
sense.
how I'm
It
gonna make
makes
my
sense.
money back.
You use it for some things, but like you said, it is a feeling. Like if you are feeling that way, someone else is feeling that way.
Yeah.
If it's giving you goosebumps, there's a demographic of people that are gonna feel the same exact
I just know
way.
what I put in to trust my gut. I've been in music since 2002. And before that, I've loved music my whole life. So I've been a music baby my whole life and put in so much. They say it's 10,000 hours. I did 20,000 hours being a DJ, 20,000 hours being a producer, 20,000 hours being a writer, 20,000 hours being an artist, all this shit. So now I've put in so much time way past the 10,000 hour shit that I actually trust my gut. So I'm not trusting my gut off of ego. Like I sacrifice the time and the effort to trust my gut. So that's why I'm like, I don't care about data. I put in the time to trust my gut and I'm gonna trust it. And I've been right. Even though some shit you still gotta be patient for, I've been right.
I got one more question before we end the show. And more so just looking for your insight. Anybody who makes it this far is obviously going to work. We maybe clip this up for social to get more eyeballs on it. But if you're someone living in a small town that wants to make music or just started making music, what would be your advice to them?
The game is so different right now. I would say record your ass off. Figure out what song you have that's the most relatable. Once you find that song, go on TikTok and just go crazy. And I say TikTok in particular because I realize when I use Instagram and TikTok, for some reason, I don't know, TikTok algorithm or something, it just puts me in front of more new people. And I like it because the people they comment more, they like talk to me more. They like, hey, Rob, da 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 da. They act like we know each other. So I've realized and learned like, wait, TikTok has something there that a new person can create a community with. So I would say, find a catchy song, find a part of the song, and just go wild on TikTok and speak to everyone.
I would push YouTube as well in that realm. We find that a lot. Like
YouTube,
people will write 3 paragraphs on a video
on YouTube.
Yeah,
oh
YouTube.
A 45-second video.
On the shorts or the video?
Shorts,
Either one.
both.
Either we literally will get 3 paragraphs on like a short or a video, like them like
People
going line by
Yeah,
line.
speak back to them.
Yeah,
Oh
and,
my God.
and I like the reason why I like about YouTube, which I agree with TikTok. I think it's easiest to grow on TikTok than Instagram. Like if you have to compare the two, if I had to grow 2 accounts, I could grow a TikTok way faster than I could grow an Instagram. But for YouTube, the reason why I like YouTube is it may be a harder climb, but you can post your long form, your short form. It's all tied in through Google, so people are searching shit. Your stuff's coming up. The thing I love about YouTube is when someone comments on your stuff, I can click on that person and see every comment they've ever put on my channel. I can see everything. So if you have someone in your community who's like really fuck with you, you can go back and literally see every comment they've done, how long they follow you, how long they've been on the platform. It's just YouTube is going to be that thing that's going to be the new cable TV. So it's like having your shorts, having everything on there makes the most sense. Whether it's even if you don't even have a YouTube. So like that's why we always tell our buddies that make music and stuff, if you're making music and you don't have every single song that you have out on YouTube, just have lyric version. Have the song playing with your lyrics, just so people can click on your page and be like, oh, I can hear the song, put it in a loop, whatever. I mean, you're talking about billions and billions and billions of streams come from YouTube. It's like it's like the second most streamed music platform in the world. So I 100% agree with that. Like I think YouTube is the everything.
A bunch of content you dropped.
And TikTok's by far the easiest to get discovered. So obviously that's a good point too.
YouTube is harder to get discovered on, but it's like YouTube is the long play. We were talking about it. Like YouTube is the thing that 10 years from now you're gonna be like, holy fuck, I'm so happy I did YouTube. And that's what we say all the time. We're like, some of our podcasts, it's like we post them and it's like a week goes by, doesn't get anything for views. I look back in a month and it's quadrupled, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Do no ads, nothing.
Nothing.
You just discover it.
Just discover it. And that's the thing.
It's all
like
search engine.
It's all search engine because, like, so, for example, for this podcast, like I'm gonna chapter our whole conversation. So people might be just searching on Google, and your answer might just come up because we just pegged it. So it's like they're just typing it, and it's like, oh, at 33 minutes of this podcast, this person was saying this about the question you just had. So that's gonna go and it's gonna directly take it to 33-minute mark. Boom, right there, and they're gonna answer their question. They're gonna be like, oh shit. That's really cool.
What are you guys doing with this? What's the big play for this show?
For us, like we're not really like we kind of stopped getting into the interviews. Like we stopped interviewing because we were a slave to the person we were interviewing. Like, oh shit, we can't even do a show this week because blank and blank canceled. So what we decided was we need to get people to like us. So we're doing our show where we talk music, we talk culture, we talk sports, things that we're into weekly, and we drop it. So we'll talk, Kendrick Drake beef, we'll talk whatever is going on, and then we're gonna sprinkle our interviews. Like with you, we would put our interviews, so then now people are like they fuck with us, but they're also like, damn, we have a really cool person on answering a bunch of questions that they're already talking about week to week.
That's crazy you said that, because I started podcasts before. I've tried like 2 or 3 times in the past, and the reasons I would stop was, number one, I was producing it myself, but then it was like being a slave to guests.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I can't do this, bro. This is not sustainable. Yeah. And that was the last time I was like, I'm not doing this again. So I like that you guys.
But that's why we call it a show.
That's what we call it a show. So we do our show. So we do our show. We're doing it week to week, whether we have a guest or not. Like we don't even reach out. That's why when you reached out, I was like, this is a great opportunity because we're already talking these things that we just asked you. Like a lot of the questions we asked in the beginning, those are questions that we've already been talking about with us. Who better to ask than you, who's in it every day and who has been doing it since 2002 officially? Like, we want that insight. Most people on the internet, we're saying, oh, this is what the internet's saying. And you're like, yeah, the internet has no fucking clue what they're saying. And that's the good thing is like we get to break these down. Now we have our show, but we're not a slave to it. Now we can always pump out our show, talk about the things we want to talk about, get people that hopefully like us, and then they're coming to tune in to us, and then we're like, oh, so our friend Rob's coming in, and then they're like, fuck, we love Rob now. Now I'm gonna follow Rob.
We just having at the
exactly.
house. It was like
Literally.
the day I was here with, I was here with you guys or Tyler.
Yeah.
The thing was going on with the cards.
Yeah.
It was just going
That was
on already. And I
T-Wash.
just popped in. It was already love. But like if I didn't show up, it still was going on.
Yeah, of course.
I love that you just making something that's going on and you're not being a slave to guests because that's whack, bro.
It also just allows our conversations to be on topic to what's going on in the internet and what we've found out very quickly in the social media age. Social media, there's 20 big topics a week. So if you're not talking about 3 or 4 of them and you don't have like massive guests, your podcast or show is irrelevant. Like you have to be talking about what people are talking about or be interviewing the president or no one cares because there's plenty of shows getting massive people that no one's going to want to listen to us interviewing people that they don't know. Like we can think they're cool, but like they don't know. So that's why we're trying to get to the point of like what's going on right now and then having experts on about things that we are incredibly passionate about or already talking about that we're just 2 white guys reading some internet articles and we're like, this is what's going on. And we have our own 2 cents and conspiracies with it. But it's great to have, an industry insider with it. But, with all that being said, we really appreciate you coming on. This has been incredible.
And
when you're in New York,
coming here, I hit you. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be in town. You all right?
Anytime.
Anytime. Like I said, it's like this is a perfect insert because it's like we bring you on and it's like, you want to talk the book, we could talk whatever, but it's like you come in here, it's like there's a million things in the music industry that we can chop it up about and just get inside information about, and we're just like, wow, that's what people come back to. They're like, I just want to know something that I can go tell my friends. Oh, I can go share with my friends. Bro, we were just talking about this last week. Look at this clip. Boom. And it's like that's how we get it. And it's just like we learn.
You performing well. I was on TikTok one day. I was just fucking around. I was like, it was an interview I did with y'all last time. And
we'll chop
like,
up some good clips
this
for
shit
you.
is fucking hard. Like da. You gotta be delusional to chase your dream, bro. That shit, I put it on TikTok. I was like, I think people would care about this little clip. That shit went, and I was like, oh, why did it go? Oh, it was so real. I was so vulnerable because you asked me a question and it went. And I don't know if y'all guys remember what I'm talking about. It was a part of our interview when I was like, yo, this shit is fucking hard, bro. Your girl's gonna leave you. Everything is gonna go to shit before you get there, but you still have to remain delusional and know that it's gonna happen. And people were just like, bro, the amount of comments I got, the amount of reshares, and I was like, yo, what if I didn't post that? Because I really wasn't going to post it because I was like, man, I'm probably cursing too much. And people I was like, no, they want real shit.
I swear the videos you don't want to post do the best.
Bro. And the ones I'm like super edited and shit.
Yeah. They don't give a fuck about.
The ones that was just blunt and real, I was like, yo, those ones just go.
Yeah, it's all about the context. Whatever you're saying matters. Like you can have the most dolled up clip possible, and it just doesn't matter. People don't care. People want that sauce, and we'll give you. We have an AI that cuts clips too, so we'll just give you all 20, and it's like zero editing. You can just have them, and then if there's something especially you want specifically clip, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, let's get it. I love talking with y'all, man.
Dope.
Appreciate it, man.
Well, if you made it this far, drop a like, leave a comment, hit subscribe. Until next time.
And we'll leave Rob's book, Rich Again. We'll leave the link in the bio. So
get it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Go support. It's going to inspire you to push yourself to be a better version.
Yeah. And if you want it, the link will be in the description. So
awesome.
Cheers,
Till next
guys.
time.
Till next time.
Yeah.
About to get all this dough. Me and no fuck niggas know. I swear to God, we the ghosts. This ain't the story they told. Man, if you know, then you know. I never had to tell my dogs that we on rough for greatness.